I think that a lot of times art can be assigned meaning, whether or not the artist wanted the art to have meaning itself, but specifically art to have, like, art doesn't have to have meaning to be art.
No, not necessarily. I feel like art is definitely one of those things that's just kind of in everyday life, and art is everywhere, and it could be anything, and it's all up to interpretation. So I don't think it necessarily has to have a meaning. I think people just like naturally put meaning to it.
No. I personally don't think that art has to have meaning or purpose. I feel that people sort of attribute meanings to certain pieces of art, but I think that it's really open to interpretation.
Even if the art doesn't have any meaning, someone else will apply the meaning to it. And maybe that's what the artist wanted to happen. If they didn't want to assign meaning to the art themselves, they wanted someone else to assign meaning to it.
Yeah, I think so. I think that people have this connotation that, oh, it's art, it has to have a deep meaning, so even if it doesn't, people just naturally go with it.
Depends on the person. If the person is used to like viewing art, I think they always find meaning, but if they're not used to it, they probably don't really understand.
I think that that just depends on the audience member personally. I think that they're invested within art. I feel like they can sort of give something a meaning, but if it's someone who's just a spectator, who's just coming to watch, I feel like they don't necessarily put much thought into it.
As someone who writes and reads poetry, who dances and does photography on the side, I don't think I could ever do any of those three things without applying meaning accidentally, just the way that I am, the way that I'm built, and the way that I think.
Yeah, I think it's nice sometimes just to appreciate it rather than like try and find to connect yourself to it. I think it's nice sometimes to just like look at it and be like, yeah, it's pretty cool, and move on.
I don't think so because I am a dancer. I think I always find meaning in every piece of choreography.
I don't think that I personally could do any of those things without finding meaning because I'm a dancer and I feel that I've sort of been like trained to give things meaning and interpret things from my point of view.
I don't know if enjoyable is the correct word. I think that meaning can make art a lot deeper, and even if the art is very evocative and hard for the viewer to digest, the meaning is something that a viewer can attach onto, and it can help to understand the art itself.
I think personally, yes. I think it's nice that to have like an intention with like your art and have like a reason for it, because then it like in turn will create your audience to have like a thought process over it rather than just like a mindless appreciation. It's nice to have like something that makes you think and questions like some different concepts and stuff. I don't know, it's just like another kind of like philosophy a little bit, but
I think so, mainly because like you can look at something and just be like, oh yeah, that's cool, but like when there's a story behind it and you can kind of make it up for yourself, it's like, oh, okay, yeah, that's really cool.
I think that meaning makes art more enjoyable. Personally, if I'm doing a dance and I know the meaning behind the dance, I feel that I'm able to sort of execute it in a more meaningful way.
449, so I've been thinking about this, and it talks about beauty and truth, and so one died for beauty, one died for truth, and even though they both think that one has failed because they've died for the wrong thing, they're both placed into tombs next to each other, and as they talk, they go into the night or death at the same time, and the moss will cover up their lips and their names, and they'll be forgotten at the same time, so it doesn't even matter why they died.
dead people. And about they failed at something, I'm not really sure what, but there's definitely a theme of like failure, and that I think they're scared of being left behind and forgotten. Especially at the end, because it says like the moss had reached our lips and covered up our names, and then so it's like obviously people, they're like starting to get like forgotten and stuff, and then the question like why I failed for beauty, and like I don't know, I feel like they were trying to search for something and they want to try and have like a legacy, and I guess they failed at it or something.
Saying I died for beauty but was scarce, I think that it's someone who died of anorexia, because they asked why I failed, and they said for beauty. So like they starved themselves like to death, basically.
Well, I just by reading the first line, I died for beauty, I think that it's talking about a girl who's sort of going through like an eating disorder, and she's trying to fit a mold, but she's not able to. So as a result of that, she sort of starves herself.